You know, when they say in the Star Trek over or canon that Star Trek Enterprise is just a ship for exploration, that's wrong. It is a military ship. Now, this is predominantly the theme of some of the major episodes of Star Trek, but especially an episode in the first season, which I think is the most underrated of the season one episodes, Arena, because it basically brings the Gorn into the mix. Now, Arena is the 18th episode of the first season of Star Trek. It was written by Gene Coon, but based on a 1944 short story the same name by Frederick Brown and directed by Joseph Pevney. Episode was first broadcast in January 1967. This is one of the darker episodes of the series. Again, Frederick Brown was credited with the story. Featured music by the great Alexander Courage. Cinematography, great first season cinematographer Jerry Finnerman. Number 19 in the production code, and it's around 50 minutes, but 42 minutes in syndication. You have to see the other 8 minutes. Now, in this one, the USS Enterprise arrives at Cestus Tree Outpost by invitation of his commanding officer, but the crews find the outpost obliterated. In a strange way, they're brought down. Whoever talks to them is lying. We're not sure it's the Gorn or like an AI voice, but once they get there, shit happens. Captain Kirk, Spock, and McCoy and his security force beam down to find one survivor who says the base came under heavy bombardment from an unknown enemy. The landing party finds himself under fire from nearby, with two of the security team killed in the initial volley. The Enterprise is also under attack from an unknown vessel, preventing the crew from beaming up the landing party. On the surface, Kirk finds a grenade launcher from the outpost stores and uses the scattered alien forces. A very good effect, like the what they call the above air explosion, just tremendous. One of the best scenes, what they call non-live scenes in the first season. The alien ship recovers its crew from the service and begins to retreat. The landing parties then beam back aboard the Enterprise before they give chase. Now, both ships enter an unexplored sector of space and shortly after lose all propulsion power. This is a trope that's been doing goes in Star Trek for at least 3 seasons and in the modern era as well. Enterprise is contacted by species calling themselves the Metrons, who zealously guard their sector of space from intrusion. They announce that they will pit the respective captains against each other in trial by combat, a 1-to-1 battle to the death between Kirk and the Gorn, with the ship of the losing captain to be destroyed and the other ship free to leave. Kirk is then transported to the surface of a rocky barren asteroid, along with the captain of the other ship, who is a reptilian species known as the Gorn. The Metrons speak to Kirk, explaining that while neither captain has communication with his ship, each has been given a vocal recording device that will transmit his words to his ship. I will be merciful. However, the unaware, they also translate their words to the opposing captain as well. Kirk is told that the asteroid has numerous resources either captain can use to defeat the other. Aboard the Enterprise, the crew is allowed to watch Kirk's actions. We really don't know why, but, closed circuit wasn't invented at the time. Now, Kirk attempts to communicate with the Gorn, but receives no response. The Gorn tracks down Kirk, and Kirk realizes he is outmatched physically and relies on his speed and agility to outrun him. Kirk gets caught in a rope trap set by the Gorn that injures his leg and slows him down. The Gorn finally communicates with Kirk via the translation device and offers to put him out of his misery. I will be merciful. Kirk accuses the Gorn of being butchers, but the alien defends their attack on Cestus Tree, stating outposts had been built in what the Gorn considered to be their territory. They viewed the Federation's presence in that part of space as an intrusion and a possible prelude to a full-scale invasion. Now, trying to stay ahead of the Gorn, Kirk discovers numerous valuable minerals and resources on the asteroid, seemingly useless at this point. He's inspired upon finding stalks of bamboo and raw chemicals that can be mixed into a black powder formula. He constructs a makeshift weapon using chunks of diamond as ammunition. It's quite a stretch, but for the show it works. Kirk barely completes the assembly as the Gorn arrives and fires it, severely wounding the Gorn. As Kirk prepares to deal a death blow, he considers the Gorn's claims that the attack on Cestus Tree was only on self-defense. This would have he got a kind of a rock knife to his throat and allows him to live. Suddenly, the Gorn disappears and a Metron appears to Kirk, congratulating him on not only winning the battle but showing the advanced trait of mercy for one's enemy. Kirk declines the Metron's offer to destroy the Gorn ship, leading the Metron to comment, "You are still half savage, but there is hope," and that the Federation should seek out the Metrons again in several thousand years' time. Suddenly, Kirk finds himself back aboard the Enterprise. His injuries healed, and the crew finds itself 500 parsecs from Metro in space, with the Gorn ship nowhere in range. Now, the filming scenes were in the Great Vasquez Rocks, which was used several times in the classic series Star Trek. Again, filmed on location, and it was subsequently used as a shooting location in numerous other Star Trek episodes and films. Now, this episode marked the directorial debut of Joseph Pevney, who was hired by Kuhn. Now, the Gorn's captain's vocalizations were provided by the great late actor Ted Cassidy, who also appeared in person in the Star Trek episode What Are Little Girls Made Of, and provided the menacing voice of Baylock in the episode The Corbomite Maneuver. The Gorn was portrayed by stuntman Bobby Clark and Gary Coombs, and by extra Bill Blackbird in close-ups. And I met two of those stunt people at celebrity events. Fine people all. Now, William Shatner recalled standing too close to a stage prop explosion during the filming of the episode, causing tinnitus, which became chronic. Nimoy was also afflicted. Shatner has it in his left ear, and Nimoy had it in his right ear. Arena was also unique in UK. It was the first episode of Star Trek to be broadcast in colour in the United Kingdom on the BBC in November of '69, 2 years after it first came out. Now, Arena was the first episode scripted by Kuhn, according to account by Herbert F. Solow in the book Inside Star Trek: The Real Story. The episode, similar to the often reprinted Frederick Brown original short story, may have come from a subconscious inspiration. After Kuhn had written what he believed to be entirely original script, Desilu's research department, headed by Kellum DeForest, noted the similarity. It was therefore agreed that Desilu's business affairs office will call Brown and offer a fair price for the story before it was shot and broadcast. Brown, not knowing that the script had already been written, was granted screen credit for the story. Now, the episode itself introduced elements of the Star Trek canon, including the Gorn, the Metrons, and the planet Cestus 3. Cestus 3 is also mentioned later at the home planet, as the home planet of Star Trek Deep Space Nine character Cassidy Yates, and is referred to in non-canonical or non-canon Star Trek novels. Now, the 2010s, actor William Shatner reenacted his battle fighting the Gorn for an advertisement for the 2013 Star Trek video game, Kelvin Timeline. In the spot, you have a similar fight, but it takes place in a modern-day living room and starts with the two playing a console video game together in co-op mode. Now, AV Club gave the episode an A- rating, noting the episode's influence and noting the use of a theme of Star Trek, the uncertainty of exploration. Now, Sci-Fi Now ranked this as the top 10 episodes of the original series. I wouldn't keep it that high. It'd be probably top 20. Now, Hollywood Reporter has named the Kirk Gorn fight as one of the top 15 key moments in the original series. Now, Newsweek ranked Arena as one of the best episodes of the original series and noted it was a popular episode. Now, in 2006, Empire ranked it the 41st best of the top 50 episodes of Star Trek. Now, IGN ranked Arena number 10 in the top 10 list. Radio Times, again, ranked the battle between Kirk and the Gorn the 7th best moment of all Star Trek film and television. Now, Business Insider called it 12 best. Arena by the Plain Dealer called it the 6th best. Collider called it the 7th best. Nerdists call it as part of their Best of Kirk binge-watching guide. Comic Book Resources call it the top 8 most memorable, and Pop Manners called it the 6th best episode of the original series. I wouldn't give it that high. It is top 15, but there's much better episodes than this, especially involving Spock and Kirk with the green chicks on the planet. And there's some third season episodes that are better, so it will be top 15. But when I first saw this, I said to myself, this, it's kind of modern, because there was different, like with the Salt Monster and the Man Trap and this. They were trying like different monsters, not saying going for the Lost in Space group. But why Arena works is because when a battle occurs, there's always a reason behind it. Sometimes it's evil, sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's confusion. And I think it really works. Now, this is not William Shatner's best performance, but the overall battle is quite good, and seeing the explosion of that grenade above the battle area is quite effective, and the sound mixing of this is tremendous. So Arena, I would consider this a top 15 episode of the series. Let me know what you think. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing with our Star Trek reviews and Star Trek breakdowns, let us know as a like, comment, subscribe, or share. I didn't see this episode in color until the 1970s. We're at an old black and white Ford Filco, but it's much more effective in color than black and white because you see the good work of the Gorn. But the swing. Yeah. There's a Frankenstein monster aesthetic in this too as well, because the Frankenstein monster is misunderstood, and the Gorn has probably a more connection with the Klingons and the humans. But then the Klingons and humans became fast friends, in the words of the ethereal group that Kalikos and Shatner had that big battle in that famous first season episode. So if you like what we're doing here, and by the way, requests for our Star Trek podcasts are always appreciated. So if you want me to talk about Star Trek, some of the things I've seen as a youth and things I've covered, let us know. And by the way, just for a little bit of Star Trek trivia, Star Trek Hostess Chips, the inserts, did not have the original series. It was only Star Trek Next Generation. So they lost a lot of money, but he probably couldn't get. But you could buy a bag of Hostess potato chips and get a Star Trek card inside, like a mini card. Tremendous. We love Star Trek in Canada, and we hope you do as well in the States. By the way, to the United States, we're not going to accept you as 11th province because you're not very good at hockey. So we'll leave it at that. Have a good one. Bye.